What comes soon when it comes to the internet computer? Well, there's been a major clue, at least in terms of Dominic Williams, the founder of Dfinity. He recently made a post saying how the internet computer cloud engines, it's coming soon. So we just heard that. That was less than 24 hours ago, by the way. Let's just let that sink in. Now, I'll also talk about the price of the internet computer quite soon because it did recover almost 3% in the past 24 hours, which isn't too much, but I'll talk about it nonetheless. However, I first want to clarify, I am not telling anyone to do anything, just my personal perspective, and nothing I say is financial advice. So let's talk about the idea of cloud engines first, because we've already seen the demonstration, right? We've already seen the demo when it comes to that. What we're really keen on seeing as of right now is the actual launch of cloud engines. Now, through cloud engines, what's going to happen is that this is the way that Dfinity plans to kind of enter the cloud market in a pretty massive way. That's their kind of solution, basically, right? Now, the cloud market, it's currently worth around $8 trillion. That's pretty massive, bigger than some GDPs out there, right? So we just gotta let that sink in for a second. That's a pretty massive figure. Now, is Cloud Engines automatically gonna become the best within that market? No, I highly doubt it. I mean, it's probably gonna take quite a while to even get, some good recognition, but it's a thought that counts, and at least they're trying. And he's already showcased, like in multiple occasions, that there has been a lot of enterprise interest when it comes to cloud engines. So there's already a lot of, prospective customers when it comes to that, and also a lot of prospective, enterprises that may want to use it, right? And again, cloud engines, apparently it's coming soon, so we just got to let that sink in. When it comes to Dfinity, they've been doing things behind the scenes that sometimes, I guess, people don't really care about, but they are doing things, so I do like seeing that. When it comes to the internet computer, I mean, yeah, it's still at around $2, but the market overall, as of right now, slightly recovering, which is quite fantastic for me to see. And the internet computer, okay, it's lagging behind a little bit because it's just like recovered almost 30% in the past 24 hours. So it's nothing too much, but in my opinion, this kind of showcases to me that sometimes these massive projects, they just don't get forgotten about like that. Like for instance, the internet computer, it's literally top 50 in the world. A project like this doesn't typically get ignored completely like that, just randomly, if the market were to recover in some hypothetical cases, just because it's already built that presence over years. You know what I mean? It's like Luna Classic. I mean, people still like it in some instances, and in some cases, people would say the following is still really massive. And the internet computer never experienced any of that type of nonsense when it comes to what happened to Luna Classic. And yet still, Luna Classic has a good following. The reason why I think so is because it has had such a massive presence within this space, even despite whatever happened to it. The presence is still pretty strong despite that, just because even with a residual or a diminishing presence from back then, it still has that presence. That's just how this space kind of works sometimes, from what I've noticed. Let alone something like the internet computer, which is top 50 currently. It's just not something that typically people forget about like that. Within this space, projects can quote unquote go down, but it's often difficult to kind of forget about it, especially if it's already had that massive presence before. It's like, for instance, Michael Jordan, when he retired, I mean, okay, sure, he's not going to play basketball anymore in the NBA after he retired, but people still remember who he is, right? It's kind of no different when it comes to this space. I'm not saying that this is Michael Jordan or anything. I'm not saying that, but it's just kind of the analogy. We've seen many people retire from the NBA, from the NFL, from the MLB, but people still remember them. And the reason why is because they've had this massive presence before. It's at the point that, okay, they don't play anymore, but their name and their sort of presence is still there because of what they've done in the past. So when it comes to the internet computer, just because it's consistently in the top 100, top 60 and all this, it's just pretty difficult to kind of to just be forgotten about like that, arguably, in my perspective. But if we take a look at where the internet computer is currently, it's still around 4.5 times away from where it was just back in November of last year. Like at around $9, it was considered a quite bearish baseline when it comes to this, yet we're so low compared to that. which showcases to me that if it could just return back to that, it didn't even seem like a difficult journey to begin with. Like, it wasn't even such a difficult milestone anyways. Like $9, it wasn't even that good when it comes to this, and yet the journey back to there is around 4.5 times. For Bitcoin to be around 4.5 times away from its all-time high, it would need to go way lower than where it is currently. And $9 isn't even the all-time high when it comes to a computer. So that's just some food for thought, to me at least. The internet computer, to me, it kind of reminds me of Long John Silver's. Ever heard of that restaurant before? Well, I have, I like it. But I'm just saying, trying to replicate that, it's just a little bit difficult. I've never seen anyone replicate that before. I mean, I've seen some friends try. They can't do it, So when it comes to that, pretty difficult to kind of replicate that. The internet computer kind of gives me that vibe a little bit to a certain extent, because when I take a look at Dfinity, they're planning to launch multi-dex, which is their dex, right? Or upcoming, I should say. They already have OEC version 2.5. They already have something like Caffeine AI version 3. And now they're planning to launch Cloud Engines when it comes to the case of Dfinity. That combination right there is just pretty difficult to find, combined with the fact that the internet computer has been around for years. So this is just the way I take a look at it. It kind of reminds me of Long John Silver's. However, in some instances, people may respond to me and say, like, okay, what happens if Dfinity actually launches Cloud Engines, and then let's say when it launches, the price doesn't move much? Does that mean it's a failure? I don't think so, actually. The reason why I say that, hypothetically, is because if, let's say, for whatever reason, whenever they do decide to launch Cloud Engines, which they say is coming soon, or should I say Dominic Williams says it's coming soon, I don't know the exact date, but let's just assume it launches, who knows, a month, 2 or 3 months from now, or whatever the case may be. Let's say it does happen, like in a short time frame, because he says it's coming soon, but I'm just saying, if we assume the launch of Cloud Engines, if for whatever reason the market isn't doing the best at that time, it just simply wouldn't do much to the price of the internet computer, regardless of Dfinity launching Cloud Engines or not. But it could matter eventually later on. That's the thing. It's like, for instance, if let's say I buy sunglasses, it's not like I would use it 24/7, but in case I do want to use it, then I have it to use, right? So it's kind of no different. It's kind of like in the case of Cloud Engines, I mean, okay, sure, it may not matter immediately, but it could matter later on. And especially, again, Dominic Williams has expressed, some enterprise interest when it comes to that. So it showcases that it's not necessarily useless, because some enterprises, which, we don't really know which specifically they are in some cases, but if an enterprise has shown interest in something that hasn't even fully launched yet, it showcases that they might see something there fundamentally. That's the thing. So I don't think it's necessarily a failure in a sense where if it launches and the price doesn't do much, I don't think it's a failure, just because this is more so for the long term. By launching Cloud Engines, it's more so caring about what it could be years down the line. Not necessarily, is it going to move the price charts that day? No, not necessarily. I think it's more so, what it could be years down the line. It's going to impact, I think, Dfinity for the long haul if they do launch Cloud Engines. So when it comes to this, again, I'm still waiting, I'm still holding, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I was pretty happy to see the market recover slightly. But yeah, I'm actually more happy with how Dominic Williams recently said that Cloud Engines are coming soon. That's kind of the real McCoy for me, so I felt like making a video on that, because again, a lot of people are wondering, when are they going to launch Cloud Engines? Apparently, he says it's coming soon. I don't know the exact date yet, as of right now, but it seems like we're quite close when it comes to that. So yeah, I'll be sure to make more updates though regarding that. So I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day.